What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is CJ Love of Real Life Triple X, and you're going to be able to find us at realifexxx.com, as well on social media at realifexxx, and on Instagram at realifetriple X. It's a lot to follow, but find us on YouTube as well. That's the bread and butter of our platform, as well as on all of our other clip sites. But most importantly, go to realifexxx.com. We'll catch you there.
You're getting ready to release episode 10. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so we're excited actually this week, or I don't know exactly when this interview is going to come out, but this week we're coming out with Stephanie Love's episode 10 on YouTube, on social media. Yes, you heard that right, on YouTube, with a couple fun games and little things that she does. She won a good amount of money in this challenge, but Stephanie Love, also a great performer and great star as well, so we were excited to have her, and finally excited to show everything she's going to be all about.
Let's go through the process. When you decide, you finish episode 9, you want to do the next episode. Do you have Stephanie in mind for the next one? How does that whole process work?
Yeah, it depends, you know, if everyone always books different. Some people want to book way in advance. Some people, you could call them 3 days before. For me personally, I like to set it very much in advance. If I recall, I believe Stephanie reached out to us like maybe months before we started shooting, or she followed us and just was interested in what we were doing, and so we always kind of had her in the back of our head, or in the back of our minds, and it was kind of cool because her personality and just from us doing our background, she was perfect, and she still is as perfect as they can come. And you want to talk about new people really blowing up, she's a perfect example of it right there too.
You booked the talent at that point. For people who are not familiar with your product, do you have ideas in your head what you want to do, sex aside? I mean, because I love that you concentrate a lot on personality and stuff, and you get away from adult. Right.
Yeah, when we're thinking of different ways to, like, at least if we're talking about like our YouTube and like our safe for work and everything that we do, when we're booking for those individual episodes, which for those watching that don't know, it's almost like a game show, reality show kind of thing that really shows their personality. We try to think of things that they're genuinely going to enjoy. Like if there's little personal facts about them, we'll try to have a game or a little challenge that's, you know, related to like who they are kind of as a person. Or if I'm planning in advance and I'm thinking of like, oh, what would be this really cool thing that not only they would love to do, but that the people would love to see. That's relative to, you know, all different types of things that, you know, you might have seen your favorite influencer, YouTube prank callers people done, or any of your favorite people you might see on TikTok or something like that.
So I'm guessing you do some research on Stephanie. Are you looking for specific things, like she's in the horror movies or she's into...
Yeah, so it's actually interesting. If you want to know kind of like, I guess the little in-depth scouting analysis, right, is I want to speak for most people who scout, you know, female performers in our business, but, you know, they'll look at, they look great, you know, what's their general size or any of the kind of physical attributes. It's interesting, when I look at how their interviews are, and also when they're performing, I look at their authenticity, you know, kind of like, if you really look, you can tell if someone's acting or not in, you know, in a scene or whatever it might be. But I just want to look for someone that can, you know, have great communication both interpersonally and both, you know, vocally, externally, because you need to be able to show that personality on our productions and on our shows. Because literally, if part of our thing is, you know, YouTube and almost no mentions of like sex anywhere until, you know, you hit our XXX section, that's a very important thing to be, you know, able to just kind of be yourself on our set.
You have the talent booked, you have the game set up. How difficult or easy is it for you to find, because you've done 9 episodes already, to get your talent comfortable enough to be themselves on camera?
Yeah, well, I mean, the first most important thing, I think, is that when they come onto our set, I think a lot of performers come onto set now, especially experienced ones, with like that predisposition of where they want it, you know, they come on and they're doing this for so many hours, and then they go and they're going to do their scene, and like, you know, they prep themselves and everything. I bring them in and I really try to get the idea through that this is going to be, you know, different in the most genuine, chill way that you've never seen a shoot like that. And I try to make it relative to maybe other people like they've seen on YouTube or other people they've seen on TikTok, and I'm like, we're going to do that. And like realistically, it's going to be just about you being you. Like there's nothing really wrong you could kind of do during this. I mean, one of the really cool things even that we tell them is like on a lot of sets, like your producer or director will be like, okay, you know, everybody phones off, especially while they're filming their performance stuff, which makes sense. For me, I'm like, when we're filming our YouTube stuff and everything, if you want to be on, you know, your social media or like putting stuff on your Instagram story and everything, whatever, you know, is going to create followers or awareness for us, I'm like, pull out your phone and tweet, do whatever you need to, you know, like that's kind of what I try to get them to understand and try to get them to really be a part of, is like just to be in this different kind of mindset of like, you know, the people that they follow on their safer work platforms.
Stephanie comes in. What is the process for you at that point? Do you look at her and try and pick outfits right away, or does she come in casual?
Well, she comes in and we get her makeup done. That's the first thing that we did, at least on that, on the specific day we're talking about. She comes in and she gets her makeup done. While she's getting her makeup done, you know, any kinds of little setups and things that are being done are, you know, partially on me and the people helping me on that specific day. And in the meantime, again, giving her that breakdown kind of like, okay, so this is how the day is going to go, or just make small talk. You know, sometimes people feel a lot more comfortable when you can, you know, ask them about how their, you know, how their pets at home are doing, or how their just their general, you know, life is and stuff, just to make them feel like that they are in a safe space in a way. That's kind of the first thing I want to make sure, is that they feel comfortable where they're at and where they can, again, be themselves, so that they can have a very productive day and be good for them as well as be good for us, you know. So
In Stephanie's case, did you find that pretty quickly yourself? Like, okay, you need her, or you need her to be now where she's comfortable and she's ready.
Oh yeah, but it didn't take her long to be comfortable, that's for sure. she is got a, I mean, she's got as great of a personality as you could ask for. She crack jokes and laugh at her own like jokes and stuff, and like, you know, say all different just sorts of funny things, and like we'll have just great reactions to things you say. You know, sometimes when we communicate with people in general, we have this like, you know, we'll say something with like a lot of context. And I mean, as an interviewer, you might know if you get like a yes or just no answer, you're like, I love a little context behind what you're saying. It felt like whenever I could have a conversation or talk to her or something like that, she'd have a very genuine reaction, a very genuine response, positive feedback, I guess.
And then you did which game or whatever with her after that?
Oh, do I want to tell people? Yeah, because I assume so. It'll be out. So her challenge actually was pretty simple. All we did for her was, because I was ironic because her name's Stephanie Love, my name's CJ Love. So we did the I Love You challenge, which is just all she had to do was just whoever I said, hey, you got to go just say I love you to this with, or this person with this little kink to it. And it was, I thought it was a little harder than what she might have thought, but she pulled it off like a champ. Like there's the one part of it, I think the funniest part is there's just this, I was like, all right, next guy that's coming in the elevator. We were on an elevator, obviously. You just gotta just enthusiastically, I love you. And again, she gets $20 per time she does this. But guy, elevator door opens, she just screams, I love you. The guy literally just went back like this. He just went like, whoa. And I thought it was one of the funniest moments we've had so far. And then our finale challenge, which we have one final thing we do at the end of our episodes. We did a game called, I'll call it like Match Cup, but it was where each of us were flipping a cup. Whenever it was flipped and it landed on its side, there was, if you could imagine, like kind of like an array of cups all face down, like Red Solo cups face down, but they had certain dollar amounts under each, but in sets of two. So you had 2 cups that had $1, 2 cups that had $5, 2 cups that had $10, and you had to pick 2 up and try to match them. If you matched them, you got the money, but you had to flip and land the flip every time to take a guess at it. So it was kind of a cool game. Again, another cool little TikTok find. I'm not going to take credit for just originality on that, but just those cool little things like that. I think hitting the point home on it is like, you don't really think about sex or porn or anything when you're seeing that stuff. You really just see her authenticity come out, and you see that, again, her specifically, she's one of those adult stars that is, you know, just as amazing, if not more amazing as a person as she is as a performer.
And when you're shooting for YouTube, are you looking for an ideal amount of time? I need 15 minutes for YouTube, I need 10 minutes.
Yeah, so I mean, basic YouTube schematics for us, we try to be between 9 and 11 minutes on our episodes for there. Our XXX stuff is pretty much between 21 to like 30 minutes within there, but yeah, 9 to 11 minutes about on our YouTube. So
You get ready to do the commercial scene. Is that a typical adult thing where you do your stills first and then you do, or do you guys kind of walk through?
kind of. So we're actually very unique in the sense I don't know very unique, but we don't take like adult stills or sex stills. We do just stills right in the beginning, like where it's just with our shirt and our logo on it, and it might be in like a sexy pose or something like that. But we just do just a few pictures there, and all's well. So, and then when it comes to, I guess, the end of our YouTube part, and we're getting into our XXX portion, it's just a breakdown. Hey, whatever you need to do to get prepped, and then we'll get camera set and we'll get going.
And it's camera mounted, or do you like the POV?
Oh no, we have a camera person, and well, we again, real life XXX, we try to make it very real and authentic, even in the XXX scene. So it's not anything super crazy. I mean, you think after seeing this person go through a whole day, you almost feel like you're connected to him enough to where when you see him in the bedroom, you think that, oh wow, this is going to be enjoyable regardless. But we have one camera, and it's just one cut that just goes around, and my camera person just one consistent film. That's it. No blocks or nothing like segmented necessarily like that. We just want it to feel very authentic and almost like nothing was lost on what you were seeing. Again, more of a connective feel, I guess, as opposed to a very broken up sort of segmented sort of adult shoot, I guess.
You as a performer and a director, are you well enough connected with the person where you guys are almost, I don't want to say making love instead of shooting porn? Or are you still looking to get, I guess, the hardcore stuff that people call it porn?
Yeah, I mean, it's, there's a healthy combination with it. I mean, for me personally, I have to have some sort of like just very authentic connection with them, but at the same time, if for some reason that wasn't there, you're a professional, you perform and you do your job. But I think, again, going back to kind of like your pre-scouting and something, I'm scouting people and I'm bringing people to shoot with us that are the ideal adult stars relative to their personality, the people that you can connect with, the people that you can feel like, your heart is as much connected as your body. And that doesn't, if I'm being real, that doesn't qualify for every single person in this business, but those people that are very, very personality driven and that I can have a connection with in both XXX scene and our Safer Work stuff, answering your question, basically just comes naturally in the scene because of the people I book. So
this is your 10th scene you've shot then, right? Or have you shot more scenes before?
We have. We've shot actually 12 major episodes. We've shot more content in general as well. Like we have a bunch of smaller things that are being released this year, like relative to like vlogs and XXX content, to mini challenge games and XXX content, and just trying to consistently put out, if it's not a major episode, but still put stuff out in that Safer Work environment as much as we are in our XXX content. I mean, we just literally launched our loyal fans, and we're going to be expanding to more platforms when it comes to just basic XXX content shooting and everything. So we're, working on that quantity on both sets of platforms, I guess. And
from shooting 12 scenes so far, can you get a vibe, get a sense, like when the commercial scene starts, that this is really going to be cool, or you're going to have to work this?
No, we get a very, you know, it's about as cool as like you can kind of get in a sense. Like I'll say you know, sometimes when you're doing a lot of run and gun content, and some people don't necessarily fully understand, including some of my own, you know, people that have helping that day don't fully understand that when you're doing a very like run and gun thing where, hey, you're doing this and this is going to be filmed impromptu on the spot, and hey, this challenge is going to be done here on the spot, unexpected. It's not as like so segmented and organized. It's very much like, hey, we're going out to, you know, do this, and this could happen, this could happen, this could happen, and this might not happen the way I envisioned it, but we got to adjust on the fly. It's very, you know, different style of thinking, and it catches them off guard, but not like in a, you know, weird way, in like a very enjoyable way, almost like an adrenaline rush, I would say, you know? So.
When you get into the commercial part of it, do you do the 3 positions, the vag eating, BJ, and pop, or is it just however it goes?
You know, it's funny, right? So I'll say this. So like a lot of, you know, a typical adult productions, they'll have whatever their kink, their theme, their niche, or whatever it is. And they'll, you know, have to do, you know, possibly positions or things that are relative to that. For us, our kink and our niche is our safe for work stuff. So when I go and we film our XXX stuff, I just ask, okay, like, you know, what are you not cool with? And usually it's like nothing that, you know, we're going to do anyway. And then we're like, okay, so what do you want to do? And it's so weird. I'm a director, but I'm asking, hey, for the XXX stuff, like, what do you want to do? I got my niche. I filmed what our niche is. Whatever we film in this bedroom scene is going to be connected and going to be fire. So I'm almost, like I tell them, like I tell at the start, I'm like throwing the ball in your court, essentially. I'm saying, okay, do you like this position the best? Like, what do you love? What looks great for you? Like, et cetera. I mean, we share our XXX content with the stars as it is now because we want, you know, the exposure and the brand partnership. So we, you know, if I've had some that are like, yeah, I love, you know, just the way I look in 69. I like the way I look when I'm riding. I like the, you know, a little bit of reverse cowgirl here, there. So it really depends on, you know, a lot what they want, but at the same time, you know, making sure that it all flows and it all segues just very, very naturally.
For you, when you're performing in a commercial scene, is it harder to be directing mentally or to be performing and stay up and do the whole?
Well, for me, I try to kind of, I do keep myself in kind of both mindsets, but I try to put myself more in the performer mindset because I trust the person or people that are filming at the time and keeping them on set in case anything pops up or anything looks a certain way to, you know, say something. And if I got to cut out of that performer mindset, you know, I will if, you know, something's said. But I, you know, keep in mind that, yes, like, you know, I'm on camera here. I can't have this, like, you know, face that's like looking around in like 20 different directions or looking like right at camera or something like that, you know.
As a performer, is it harder for you to get ready to perform or to pop?
Ooh, good question. Oh, I was waiting until I was gonna get like that, this or that question. So for me, I don't think, I guess based on experience, it's been harder for me to pop. I've always gotten excited. I mean, look who literally you know, have in this business. How can you not be excited about like 99% of the people that work in this business? But when it comes to popping and stuff, I'll say that because sometimes you don't have to pop in a position that's very natural. You know, you might have to, you know, do a pull out or a pop in like a, you know, while you're either standing or twisted or whatever it might be. But I don't know. For me, once I pop, it's like I have the ability to, for some reason, to go 2, 3, etc. And it's like sometimes the second one's even easier than the first one. Don't ask me why. It just is. But yes, for getting excited, simple enough. Popping can be tricky sometimes.
When you shoot, do you have a mind frame of only shooting 30 minutes, or if you're vibing with somebody, you guys keep going?
I mean, we'll play it off of like just what feels natural, like feels very natural. Like, look, if I have a scene that's literally only 21 minutes, but it's 21 minutes of good quality stuff, and it was very vibed and very natural, I would take that over 30 minutes over something that has like 7, 8 minutes of kind of what just felt like dead repetitive space. It's kind of a quality over quantity thing. So yeah, I'll have in my mind between like my 21 to 30 minutes, but realistically, like if it wherever it goes within that time or wherever it goes period, as long as everything seemed very, very authentic and genuine, I'm not going to complain.
And for you, a good scene, is it visual? Is it where you can see the two people are vibing? Is it the
I think so.
call Gyno 101? Is it?
Yeah, I think it's where nowadays where the people are vibing. Maybe back in the day it was more so like, hey, this person had to have a great figure, or this person had to have a really, really nice bust, or they had to show this angle or something. And I think we can all agree like that it seems like adult content nowadays is to be new or unique is either getting very kinkier or it's getting more connective. And for me personally, I'm lying on the side of being more connective, obviously. So vibing with someone, like there's a difference between, someone that might just be, they might just be doing it in missionary and it's like, cool, they're a missionary, whatever. But if you're in missionary and there's like, deep eye contact, or like even like, a little bit of face rubbing, or like just any kinds of things where it seems like they're just lost in kind of their own world, that emotional attachment, I guess, in a sense, or that emotional attachment in the sense between the person watching and the performance happening on camera becomes essential at that point, because everybody can find every physical attribute they want on the freaking internet nowadays. It's very tough to find a girl that can emotionally attach to someone the exact same as somebody else can.
When you originally decided to do the series, was the commercial aspect always going to be part of it, or how did you come up with this idea in the first place? Let's try and start on YouTube and then go into sex.
Yeah, so it's kind of this like dual idea that I always kind of had passions for, and I didn't really think about crossing in my head until I decided to kind of do this. So I really loved like just following like people like on YouTube that were just, made me laugh. I was very much a comedy person. So when I followed them, I always said, oh, it'd be cool to be like a YouTube person, or I said, being an actor or something like that, that would really just kind of, be in that very much that comedic realm and everything. And they were just people I aspired to there. But also there were, adult stars or XXX stars that I very much, thought were awesome and everything. And once I actually started meeting some of these XXX stars like in person and such, I was really sitting there like, wow, these people, they're no different than like, some of these influencers on YouTube. They have great personalities. They work their butts off. They hustle. They got great performances. They have the whole 9 yards that you would ask for, like from any social media personality or anything. So I just said to myself, okay, I can either start a YouTube channel or whatever, and then just like, hey, porn's this fun thing, but like, why not just work with some of these people that you feel like you've created a very genuine connection with, and why not just, bring them into the space and give them the respect that, the ones that, do work hard and have a positive attitude and everything deserve in that space. So that's kind of where the crossover really just came. It's just from two individual passions I had that really just meshed like peanut butter and jelly.
Prior to watching adult performers, had you any preconceived notions about girls in the adult industry?
I had preconceived notions even before I started in the adult industry in the first place. Like, so the way I, really got like knowledgeable in the adult space was I worked for 3 years at a gentleman's club as a floor host. And, granted, entertainers and strippers are in a different category, not, in a different category in a way than XXX performers, but still somewhat in that same kind of environment. When I, started working there, which was just kind of like hey, I want to kind of work this job, and I'm going to work this job with just thinking that, like strippers just love sex all the time and they're just goofy and all this kind of, those preconceived notions that, an average person might think. But when I saw them behind the scenes, like, you know, hustling and thinking like, okay, so I got to do this today. I got to, you know, bust this out, and I'm going to make sure that my body's in good shape so I can pull this move and everything. I was like, wow, that's a lot of respect. And then those preconceived notions were knocked out the window with strippers. So that open-mindedness just carried itself to XXX performers, in the sense of, okay, so I gotta, you know, girls, I gotta make sure that my, you know, makeup is gonna look really good for this photo shoot today, or I'm gonna make sure I got, you know, enough budget to travel here and do this shoot and keep in contact with my agent, or whatever that might be. Those things, again, the average person wouldn't think about. And so that was me in a nutshell, just learning from being, or growing to be open-minded to strippers, and then I grew to be open-minded with XXX stars, and the ones that are the good ones and the ones that deserve the respect and the admiration in this business are those ones that, you know, hustle and take those preconceived notions, roll them up, and throw them in the trash can.
Do you remember the first time you saw something adult related?
I mean, it was, I mean, middle school and stuff was like around the time I started, I think, liking girls and everything. I think it was like 6th grade or something like that, which feels like, you know, obviously forever ago. But I think like the first, like, I remember who like the first sets of like, you know, porn stars that I loved. Crystal Summers. I remember it was Sarah J, who I had the pleasure of meeting a bunch of times recently, and X3 were literally having full-on conversations in line and everything. I was like, oh my God. And Sasha Grey, who's also another classic, and I'll give her the respect because I don't think anybody was ever in the crossover sense in the adult stream and also on HBO crossing into the mainstream, which is kind of what we're pushing for here and stuff, but that kind of respect and everything, you know, for someone who worked their ass off and got the right results. Those 3 were my top 3 that I saw when I was first like getting into porn and everything, basically. So
when you saw adult material, thought ever crossed your mind that I could do that?
You know what? To a degree, yes, but at the same time, you're sitting there kind of like, wow, there's this. I don't know if it's like the too good to be true feeling, but you do feel like there's got to be some other nuances in there, because like if it was so easy and so enjoyable, you feel like everybody would do it. But at the same time, like you come to the understanding that, you know, like, hey, they're shooting stuff here. This is like, you know, work for them, and the obvious of I gotta have sex in front of all these people. Like that in itself, like, which is, you know, probably the most obvious point that holds, you know, obviously a lot of people back, is like a big thing that would probably, you know, I would look at and just be like, or I did look at and be like, ooh, okay, so it's not exactly, you know, what I would see, but at the same time it is. So a little bit of gray area, if that kind of makes sense, you know, a little bit of gray area.
Did you meet any porn stars when you were a floor host? Did that worlds ever cross?
Yes. I mean, when I came out to LA, when I was technically still working as a floor host, and met just different people through different, you know, individuals and such, and just kind of created, like, they say, like the 6 degrees of separation. Like you meet somebody who then knows somebody else and introduces you, and that person introduces you to somebody else, and etc. But, I mean, nobody, like, while I was a, like, floor host that, like, came into our club or anything like that. It was just like, hey, I'm visiting, and, like, you know, social media, you know, reach out and you're just like, hey, like, I work in this business, oh, cool, create a connection, etc. Like, you know, and from a fan perspective, you're just trying to, like, which is what I technically was at the time, like, you're just, you know, reaching out and trying to get to know more about them. And so when that person says, oh, you're cool, and they, you know, create that just genuine connection with you, and they introduce you to a whole bunch of people, it kind of just spreads from there, you know?
Your series, yourself, your platform, is personality more important than sex?
Absolutely. 1,000,000%, you know? And I mean, I think it is for every single shoot, but that's just partially a matter of opinion as well as, like a conversation for another day. But when it comes to personality, I absolutely think that's a lot more important than sex, because a big thing to think about too, and if you're the fan watching this or seeing this at all, is when you follow your favorite porn star or something, and you see her in a scene and stuff like that, you want that authentically to, in your head, that you think that's authentically who she is. And the thing of the matter is that, and I mean authentically how she is relative to her inner, personal traits, how she acts on camera, not towards what she's actually performing and stuff. But when it comes to, her and those, like the way she smiles or the way she, she reacts to the camera, or how genuine she is, when you follow her on OnlyFans or you follow her wherever it is, and you want to have some sort of interaction with her, you want to feel like that's authentically her. So therefore, it's the responsibility, I feel like, of the, porn stars, of me, of everyone included, to make sure that when they're on camera, that's very much, authentically them. And when they're having their interactions with their fans, for that to be also very authentically them. So that it's not this, like, mask and illusions or any of that kind of stuff.
Do you believe society, or think society, uses material like yourself, or just adult material, for a training guide to how to have sex properly, or have sex at all?
I mean, I think so, but it would be, misinformed, I guess, in a sense. When it, like, if you were going to use a, person for, or if you were going to use a scene or something for training for, how to have sex properly or anything like that, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that. But if you're, just genuinely, like, asking like the simple question of like, oh, does like this, is this someone's, like, a lot of people's favorite position, or like, does this make someone, like, normally feel good? I mean, I'm sure that can be a good, answer. I mean, a lot of people in the, who are porn stars in this business and everything, they want to, they, from what I've just heard, have aspirations in, like, sex therapy or in businesses like that, where it's like, hey, I've done this, I've had, like, plenty of sex, I know the enjoyment it brings to me, which you would assume so, because you want to do a job because you love it authentically. So I can, bring that knowledge to the average person and be like, okay, it's awesome, but this is the most important thing about it, and you probably didn't think about that. So that's where I kind of feel that's most important.
Some women complain that when guys watch porn, and whether it gets rough or aggressive, that all women like the rough and aggressive aspect of it, and most don't.
Right. When it comes to, like, the rougher elements and such, remember, as things get rougher and as things get more, like, I guess, intensified, and you can intensify things in, multiple ways to, spice up the bedroom and stuff, but that all has to start from that base point. And I think that base point is that version, or that base of trust, right? Because you're not just going to pick any other person and just be like, yeah, like, rough me up. I mean, for the most part, you're not going to authentically be like, yeah, you have permission to, like, rough me up and all this kind of stuff and everything. You want to really have a level of trust, or there's going to be someone in the vicinity that you have a level of trust with, that's giving you the, that vulnerability, because that's essentially what it comes down to, is being vulnerable in that certain state. So women that enjoy, when they enjoy, like, rougher stuff, and they enjoy getting into, and this is just, again, matter of opinion, when they get into rougher stuff and they get into the more, like, just the more hardcore elements, it all started from a very genuine base of trust and a very genuine connection, and just the trust and everything just kind of grew from there. So that's the way I feel about it. But
agree, disagree? Some people forget that this is a performance and that these are actors.
Oh, agreed. Yeah, 1,000,000% agree. I mean, the amount of times I see, just on social media alone, these triple X stars like getting marriage proposals and everything like that. You're like, man, which, or thinking that they're, acting out a part that actually is like what they are. Like, not every porn star is a teacher that's going after a student. Like for lack of a better term, but. Yeah, there definitely are, the individuals in society that kind of confuse that and stuff. And I think it's important for those to, know that, hey, you're in the entertainment realm here when you're watching us. And outside of that, we're people. And we're genuine people that you can have a conversation with and should have maturity with. I compare it a lot to like the Grand Theft Auto euphemism is like, I'll go play Grand Theft Auto, but I don't really think there are people out there that are stealing helicopters and crashing them into buildings and stuff just on a regular daily basis or anything like that. There's that entertainment separation, and there's an entertainment separation here as well.
Where are you from originally?
I'm originally from New Jersey. Born and raised. Yep. Moved down south, spent some time out south, and then made it all the way out here. Went to school up in like the Midwest, North. I've just been everywhere. I'm like a mutt of the United States at this point.
In grade school, did you have a favorite subject?
In grade school, did I have a favorite subject? I was the jock. It was PE. Let's be honest. It was physical education.
I know you were very young at that point. Do you have any idea what you want to do with the rest of your life?
No. I didn't have any idea what I wanted to do with the rest of my life up till, freaking 3 years ago. And I think that's the fun part about it, right? Is that, life and those like career goals and those things, they never really work out 100% the way. If they worked out 100% the way you wanted, like everyone would be always 1,000,000% happy with their job and do everything, for the rest of their life. But the thing is, like, you're always having different avenues and different ways that your ambitions, you have your set passions, you have your set ambitions, and you have your things that, naturally you want. But the path on how you get to that might not be what you expect. So for me personally, this is definitely not the path of what I expected. But it's really cool looking at it and being like, okay, well, I still feel like I'm going to make a difference in the world, and I'm accomplishing something that makes me happy and brings, connects me with a lot of like-minded individuals, even if it's not the way I predicted it would be.
In high school, were you popular? Were you a loner, a geek, a nerd?
I was the jock in high school, which I guess you're kind of like when you're the jock in a way, you're like you're not the most popular kid in school necessarily. The popular kid in school was well, I mean, I guess it depends on your institution. For me, my institution, it was the one that had a decent amount of like class clown and a good amount of charisma and everything. But I was like middle of the pack kind of, because it was like, yeah, all right, you go to school and then you focus on sports, and then you go to school more and you focus on sports, and you spend a little time outside, with people, and you just hang with your regular old kids at the lunch table. It seemed very generic in a way, but yeah, I was never like the guy that people were like, oh my God, yeah, CJ's, yada, 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 etc. It wasn't gossiped about tons.
Popular with the girls?
Popular with the girls? Nah. Not necessarily. It's where I went to high school, it felt like there was a lot of like, where I went to high school was like one of the top 100 public high schools like in the entire nation. So it was like very much like this sense, I don't want to say sense of like super strict morality, but it was in this sense of like where everyone was very, very afraid to be super open-minded or come out of their shell or do something like, super crazy. It was like if someone there like at my high school ended up getting like pregnant at 19, it would have like the entire town would have been up in pitchforks and like, torches, that kind of thing. So it was very, very, I guess, just nothing crazy ever happened, just very, very chill and etc. So what I'm trying to get at is that the girls therefore never did anything super crazy or never wanted to like super reach out to guys. It took a lot for a guy to like get a girl there to trust him and everything. So, for me, it was like I just kind of never put the effort in, but when I did, it was like people were just very closed off and reserved, in my opinion, at where I went.
You graduated high school?
I did graduate high school, yep.
Go to college?
Went to college, yep.
Majored in?
Majored in broadcast communications, digital media design.
When you get into that, was there a specific reason why you wanted to go into broadcasting?
It was because I just knew I wanted to do something in the entertainment field. Again, that path, didn't know what that path was, but when I got into the entertainment field, it was kind of cool just, seeing all different elements of like camera on a TV set, editing, everything from a pre-production to a post-production. I was on my school radio for a little bit, school television station, just kind of, I was very involved in all elements of a production like this.
More interested in being behind the camera or in front of it?
I had interest very much in being in front of it. I always wanted to kind of like, not be the star for my own sake, but I always wanted to kind of be the star for like, for people to just like, create some sort of reaction with them, or like, be like, oh, it was cool seeing him, sort of deal. But when I learned about how everything behind the scenes came together, especially in like the editing and production realm, it felt really cool to like have a project that like you were given all this like raw footage and you put it together and you created something cool that people enjoyed. Like very much the life gives you lemons, you're making lemonade sort of philosophy. And I felt good when I, had literally my metaphorical lemonade and people were like, oh, this tastes great. And I was like, yeah, well, I put that together behind the scenes, just a cool little feeling.
And I guess sexually, did you come out of your shell from being, I guess, almost repressed in high school because you hear all the stories about crazy college?
Oh yeah, I did. Because I continued to be, again, jock in college and whatnot. And it was interesting. My freshman year, I dated someone who was 23, and I didn't really expect that. But when, we were in two different places of our lives, but we still had a ton of fun, and we would go out to parties and everything, and there was just a lot of, different people just, being explorative. And when you're my tiny little town high school, and then you go to like a big college university, you see all these people from different backgrounds that were a lot more open-minded, people that weren't afraid to grab you by the shirt at the party and just make out with you right there, which didn't happen. It was like, wow, okay. People are so much more, easygoing, explorative, whatever you want to use as the adjective there for just coming out of their shell.
Were you more into a relationship, or were you a hit and run type guy?
I was into I thought I was going to get into like kind of like the hit and run thing for college, because I was like, nah, I do not want to settle down. Why would someone want to waste their college days, But when I dated my first girl my freshman year, which I just mentioned, it was pretty nice being like settled in the sense of like being able to consistently like just share someone's vibe with someone on a good basis. It created the mindset for me of, if you have a really good thing, like why would you just, kind of let it go? It'd be like the equivalent of me being given a really nice, piece of chocolate cake, having a slice and just throwing the rest away. Like that's what it kind of like felt like to a degree. But at the same time, I understand people that, they're given a piece of chocolate cake and then there's all these other different flavors of cake that they want to go try those too. So I kind of, went in between, but I was really happy with the chocolate cake I was eating for the most part, I guess.
You mentioned you were a floor host. What other kind of jobs did you have like that?
That I have that were similar to that? Yeah. I was in the direct sales department for a little while. Doing that was, moderately successful, but I think the most important thing that I took from that was all the entrepreneurial motivation and dedication to, just running a business. And that whole lesson and everything there, or that whole, time I spent in that business, regardless of what you think about direct sales and stuff like that, was very, very inspirational to me. And some of the people that I learned from there, people making a lot of money, doing very, very well, and very, very happy, which is the most important thing, I think. When they were just teaching their lessons and, learning about different interpersonal traits and paradigms and how, you translate your desire to success, all that has stuck with me until this day. And I try to, bring that into this this business, this industry. It's part of the reason what, you know, gave me the confidence to even be here on camera and speak as I am now. So.
In college, had you had any girls gone wild type of experiences because you're in production and maybe you're at a party and girls are flashing or doing whatever?
Yeah, well, we frequented one sorority house, and that was always fun because there was always something going on there. There was friggin' paint being thrown around on the walls or something, or you know, wet t-shirts, or just some girl that was just, you know, girls that were just drunk kind of going around doing their thing. When it came to like, there weren't like any like orgies or anything happening in the house, but there was very, very like group flirtatious behavior in a sense, I guess you can say.
But I mean, at that point, was it like the thought that like, this should be cool to film and maybe make a series and put it on YouTube?
Yeah, at the same time you're like, I pull out a camera and video any of this now, I'm gonna get kicked in the face or something like that. You kind of wanted to like, you sat there and you thought like, yeah, that would be, oh my God, you filmed that, you would make so much freaking money. But at the same time, you're sitting there and just, you know, imagining like, wow, this person's like being open and being like vulnerable and authentic. You feel like if you pulled out a camera at that time or something without like, you know, their consent or whatever it is, that they're, I'm not comfortable with that, and it's going to make them want to be less vulnerable in the future, and you don't want to, you know, risk that, especially in an exploratory phase of your life.
What's your job and your degree? Are you looking, even now or back then, were you looking more for a career or just a job?
I was looking as a long-term career, I think, for me personally, because I've learned, again, in my entrepreneurial experience, that you have something that's, you know, fueling you and helping you like financially, but then you have like, you have your short-term goals and your long-term goals. For me, my short-term goals very much were like, you know, financials and like just making sure I was at a job that I can consistently support myself. I mean, it still is, obviously, it's everyone's short-term goal, year to year, month to month, whatever it is. But my long-term goal was to, yes, have a long-term like broadcast plan, like, you know, like they say, corporate America, kind of work your way up a ladder or create something yourself and really build it from the foundation up. So yeah, the broadcasting element and everything is part of the long-term picture, and all the things, little things I do now for just daily life support, I guess, are all short-term.
Before you got in this business, had you ever imagined yourself as being the wife and the three picket fence, or the white picket fence and all that? Yeah,
you just never knew who that person was that you were going to be sharing it with, you know? Like, I'm a very, very cognitive thinker in the sense of, you know, like, even when it comes to like getting a tattoo, for example, or something like that, I have 0 tattoos, and it's because I'm the person that thinks, I'm gonna have this thing for the rest of my life. So when it comes to being that family of 4 or whatever it is and stuff, I'm very cognitive in the sense of like, okay, so if I do this and I settle down here, this is gonna be something I have for the rest of my life, and this is the main person in my life, or the people in my life, that I'm devoting all my time to and everything. So I, you know, very, very, I guess, hesitant in a sense to just like, you know, make sure that is the 100% right situation based on which, you know, which step in my life I'm consistently taking that to.